What's going on, guys? Matt Wacek here, coming at you with another video. Today is something totally different. We've never done this before on the channel, and that is assessing a student's pay-per-call or lead generation website. I want to do a lot more of these because I know that this can really help a lot of people. Not only the person who directly owns the site, but anyone watching can take these pointers and tips and apply them to their website. So we're going to hop on my computer in a second and we're going to just take a look at their website and let them know what they need to do to not only improve their conversions, but also improve their on-page SEO so that way the site's going to rank a bit better. So let's hop onto my computer and get to work.
Okay, so welcome into my computer. First things first, before we get into it, I know this landing page probably doesn't exactly look the best, but this student in my course who just recently joined is brand new to digital marketing, brand new to building websites, and English is not their first language. So there probably is going to be a fair amount of grammatical errors and words that are placed in spots that just don't necessarily make sense. So if you're going to be a troll and leave a comment, I'll probably just ban you from the channel because that's not what we're about here. We're all about building and helping and growing. But I'm not going to dance around the truth and sugarcoat things for the sake of being nice, because if you do that, the person's going to be set up for failure, as opposed to letting them know that, hey, your website does not look that great, which I'm going to say right now, this looks really bad, honestly. But there's ways that we can improve this really easily, especially because he is using Three Architect. So again, though, I'm not going to sugarcoat things, because what's going to happen is if you were to rank this site and the traffic starts coming to it, it's not going to convert well because it looks bad. It looks kind of scammy, and it's just not presentable to a person who's looking to buy a service like water damage restoration. So first things first, the domain is not a top-level domain. We're keeping the domain name private for obvious reasons, but the first piece of advice that I have for you on this site is you probably already bought hosting, probably already bought a domain. I don't know the hosting company or anything like that that you purchased from, but you're going to want to change this because a top-level domain is going to rule all when it comes to ranking. So let's say we just have waterdamage.xyz or .xyz is one that you can do, but you do not want that. You're going to want to have .com whenever you possibly can. So obviously waterdamage.com, I can almost guarantee that that is taken, but you're going to want to have that set up properly. Now also, this student had asked if I would take a look at some competition for some cities that he could target. So there's really nothing as part of what's after the URL in terms of optimizing the URL. It's just like a standard WordPress thing here when he created the page. So what you're going to want to do once you select the city that you're going to have this particular homepage based in, let's say it's based in Des Moines, Iowa. So if you're someone who is out of the United States and you do not know the geographical cities or respective cities or anything like that, you need to just go over to Google Maps and study some of the cities and get to know these areas, because to think that you don't have to do that and you can skip out on the work is asinine. You have to know and understand this, especially when you're trying to sell a service to somebody. You're using a website like this to sell water damage services. You have to understand the cities and that stuff, and if you don't know, just go to Google Maps and look. Or if you don't know the cities in an area, because sometimes they don't show up on Google Maps or whatever, just go to Wikipedia, type in Miami metro area list of cities, and they'll give you every single city list right there, and you can build out pages for each one of them. So anyways, back to this particular website here. My rant is really, if you think you're going to be able to build any type of business without putting in some type of work, even something as minimal as just learning the geographical area for where you want to build a website in to acquire customers for a service business, and you're on the other side of the world, which 50 years ago that wasn't even possible. Now you can do that from an iPad in anywhere. You could be in Australia, you could be in Finland, you could wherever, it doesn't matter. You have this connection to the most powerful thing on the planet, which is the internet. So anyways, rant is over. We're going to target Des Moines, Iowa, so for example on this one. So let's say the company is based in the city of Des Moines, for example. So then what you're going to want to be doing is have the homepage be all about Des Moines. Then when you have your service area page or locations, which you can also do, or whichever you prefer. Service area works just fine for me, but then you're going to have your cities be linked out like this with the proper silos. There are videos on the channel. If you're in my course, there are videos in the course that show exactly how to set this up in WordPress. I don't want to be going way too in depth and making this into a 40-minute long video, but not Cedar Lakes. What am I thinking? Cedar Rapids. So that's the first thing that I would recommend doing, is make sure that you establish a location. I know that to this student that's probably watching, I will be sending over a competition analysis with some ideas for a city that you can target. So now back over here to their website. The logo is really bad. I get it, everyone has a different starting place. At one point in time, when I was trying to start doing Shopify like 4 years ago, my shit looked absolutely god awful and it was embarrassing and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't making any money with it. And then I realized, oh, if I was a person going to the site, it looks like a scam. I'm not going to buy from it. So that is why my initial couple stores were complete travesties. So if you have the money to be able to do this, have a professional, someone from Fiverr, someone from Legit that's got a good track record, and spend the $20 USD, of course, for a logo to be designed. For the name, Water Damage Service 24/7, that's really not grammatically correct. If you're someone that English is not your native language, you are really just going to have to understand how the English language works in order to have success working in an English-speaking country, because that's the language that people speak. If it's the same thing if you were to go over to Japan. If you're typing out words in English on a website that's going to be ranking in Japan, half the people or whatever percentage don't speak English there are going to leave that website unless Google can translate the site for them. If you wrote it out in Japanese but the words are jumbled and they don't make any sense, then it's not going to work. It's not going to convert people that are visiting the site. So a better choice of this would be to really just change up the name to like something along the lines of 24/7 Restoration is an example that you can use, and you'd want to have ideally you'd want to have the domain name match that and have a branded domain name if you're not targeting with an exact match domain for a city plus service keyword. All right, so the menu here looks pretty good as far as the items. Tap here to call us, so that's good. And we get down here to the first background section, and first off, yes, I know we have not selected a city quite yet. When you compare it to like Always Greener site here, we have a location set up because that's where the company is based, the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania. But this, from a graphical design standpoint, which by the way, I will never claim to be the world's best designer. I'm not very creative when it comes to designing like graphical type of thing. That's why I use the same theme on pretty much every single site, because it's really easy for me and I can make it into a system and like an assembly line. But the first thing that you're going to want to do is find an image from either Pixabay, it's 100% free there, or you can go over to OnePixel, which someone commented that the other night on a recent video, which is pretty cool. It's only $1 for every single photo. Adobe is $3 a picture, but you have to buy 10 every month, so it's $30. And it needs to be the one that has the largest file size, so it's multiple megabytes, and you want to have it be a static background image, so that way when you're scrolling like this, these images like stay put while the rest of the stuff moves. So that's the first thing that you want to do. Then when we come in here to this background here, when I initially looked at this was gray, and now it's red, and it'd probably be fine on mobile, but when you're on desktop, this hurts my eyes to read with this type of color background with white text. It makes it really difficult to read. The spacing is way too big. Looks like there are 2 spaces between every single word. Now I don't want to get too nitpicky in this video, but these are things that you really need to make sure are correct. I know a lot of people, entrepreneurs, will say grammar doesn't matter, which to an extent it doesn't, but when you're presenting something in a sales presentation like this on a landing page, it needs to make sense. So also, you're going to want to shorten this, because what we're trying to do here at the top of the page is capture their attention. So when you compare it over here, we have 2 lines, and then we have 3 lines here. Top rated from Allentown to Bethlehem, take your outdoor space dreams, turn them into reality. Contact us to get started. Then we have a call to action right there. Get a quote, which links to the contact page. So we get down here to the next section, and what I would suggest to do is make sure that you have all the headlines have the first letter is capitalized. That's just how it works for English language. And the image here is pixelated, so that looks really bad. And you're going to want to make sure that you get high quality images. If we come over here, this one's not pixelated. This is probably a couple megabyte size photo. Just head over to Pixabay, onepixel.com, Adobe, Shutterstock, whatever it is. As much as I would love to say that you can build this stuff for free with absolutely zero investment, that's just not the case. It's going to take a little bit of investment to make things happen. So as far as this process here, this works okay. I would prefer having this be like the first semi-long paragraph, but at least a couple sentences to basically kind of just establish a little bit about the business, and then start laying on the benefits, which is what we do here with the Why Choose Us. So you're going to want to change these icons. I know they're from the medical theme. They are what comes stock. So now for some of the English writing here, provide 24/7 emergency service. So you're going to want to change that to just 24/7 emergency service. And that's what you'd want for the headline. If you had the bit of text beneath here, such as how we have it here, that is where you write in that, hey, we do 24/7 services or something of the sort. So highly trained water damage restoration specialists. That's all right. I would just say highly trained personnel, highly trained staff, faster to any size disaster. That does not make any grammatical sense. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. So what I would say is just prompt response and make sure that the icon coincides with that statement. Find something similar to it. And then the company has over 10 years experience in water damage restoration. So this looks really bad. If I'm someone shopping for water damage restoration and I see that, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? This makes no sense. The company has, so isn't this website supposed to be about a company? So that's what you need to put yourself in the mind frame of when you're building these sites. This is a straight up legit company. This is no different than Always Greener Landscaping with their stuff right here. It's no different is what you're trying to create. The only thing that's different is that when they call, they're going to be directed to the affiliate network's call center, and then they're routed to the business. So either way though, so first what you want to be doing is basically saying like 10 plus years experience, and that's it. Like for these types of headlines right here beneath an icon like this, you don't want any more than like 5 words. So you don't want a long drawn out sentence right here. If you're going to be putting text underneath here like this is where you put in that text. So that is something you definitely want to work on. And I know, being as someone who's not speaking English, it's a really hard language to learn, but it just comes with the territory of working in an online space, selling to the United States. So our fields of specialization, so this would be the services. I think this is what comes stock on the theme for medical. So I would change this to something along the lines of your water damage or your full service restoration specialist or something like that, and maybe even throw in the city as well. So it'd be your fire and water damage restoration experts in Des Moines, Iowa, for example, or in Des Moines. Actually, I wouldn't even put the state abbreviation in there. And so then when we come down here to these lists, I know the service pages are probably not built out yet, but you want these to be linking to each one of them. You want the first letter of all these words to be capitalized. It's just what comes proper within English. So you'll definitely want to make sure that makes sense. Disaster repair, contents restoration, mold removal, carpet cleaning, duct cleaning, trauma and bio cleaner. So I would maybe do, like, instead of this, I would say crime scene and biohazard cleanup if that's covered under the offer that you're using. So tap your call now, that works okay. So we have what our clients have to say here, and the English is not exactly the best on here. Also, what I do to enhance the on-page SEO is I'll take their name. Usually I just do the name and the first letter of the last name, and they'll do a period and then comma, and then I will put the city name after it. So if you see over here, this person from Allentown or this person from Westwood Heights, so that helps with the on-page a little bit. And again, down here in this one, you'll want to change these photos because these are stock photos and it's painfully obvious, or just not have the photos there. So with the name here, I would not recommend doing that because the network is probably not going to allow you to say people's name on there. So that's just something to be aware of. And then help when you need it most. Leaking faucets. So this font here looks like it's larger. You're going to want it to match this font up here. And by the way, the background here, you're going to want this to be like a subtle gray, similar to how we have this, where it's still kind of see-through, but you can still read it. Ideally, you'd want to have these match. You don't necessarily have to have an image background like this one does. You can just have it be just like this and then have your map here. But one thing that you will want to make sure that you have, and one thing to note is that I noticed some like capital letters that do not need to be capital. So like our professionals, this capital P should not be capital. So just some things to think about. Again, I know English is a crazy language to learn, but you just have to know it if you're going to be selling to people in the United States. So ideally though, you want to have the map here be the same length as this text here, as this paragraph. And then we get down here and we have this button. Again, I would recommend if you're going to have the contact page, have this link to it. or vice versa. Have this be the call now button, and then we have this link to the contact page, whichever you see fit for your business. So then for the company name, you want to make sure you have that in there. So copyright, just Google copyright symbol, copy and paste that there, dash company name, dash all rights reserved, and then you want to link to your privacy and terms page. So there's work that needs to be done, but when you're using a builder like 3 Architect, like this one's built on, it becomes quite simple. It is a hell of a lot easier than having to code all this with HTML. So if you like this type of content, I'd appreciate if you went down below, dropped a like on the video. If you would like me to review your site here on the channel, similar to how we reviewed this one, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, send me a DM on Instagram or a Facebook message, or leave a comment in the Facebook group or whatever, and I'll happily get it onto the schedule and we can review your site. So that way you can improve and overall rank your site better and improve your conversions, because that's what it's all about. There's a lot that's got to get done on this site, but hey, we all start somewhere. My first website was ungodly awful. It was literally a white background, my company's logo, and some crappy text and a contact form. That was it. That was the very first website I had built for any business purposes, and that was in 2011, 8 years ago. So again, I'd appreciate if you went down below, dropped a like. If you're not already a part of the family, go down below, smash that subscribe button, and also smash the bell for notifications so that way you know when the newest content comes live. If you would like to learn more in-depth information regarding building websites and ranking them in the search results, monetizing them with pay-per-call affiliate offers or lead generation campaigns, there's a link to my course right down below in the description. If you want to get access to the 9 most profitable pay-per-call and lead gen niches, there's a link to download that in the description as well. So with all that said, I will talk to you guys tomorrow in the next one.